was on the Tomon website earlier today, looking for your guitar, and it was like, yeah, available in several months. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, and it said B stock, one B stock available for like
Oh, okay.
$3.99. I'm like, great, and I clicked on it, and between my clicking on it and it getting to the screen, it was like, oh, sorry, this has been sold. I'm like, ah, crap. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in to this video. From the millions you have to choose from, literally millions, I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And this is going to be super cool. I've been looking forward to this. We've got Max Carlisle of Guitar Max channel fame. And Max just recently brought to the world his new signature guitar from Harley Benton. Well, let me ask you, man, whose idea was it to collaborate on this? I mean, who approached whom?
Well, it's kind of interesting. And, first of all, thanks for having me on the channel again. It's always good to talk with you.
Oh, dude, no
But
problem. My pleasure.
sure, yeah. But as far as the idea of it, I initially went to them and
Mhm.
said, "Hey, I know I'm a YouTuber, and typically YouTubers don't really have signature guitars." And I said, "But I've already done a lot of Harley Benton videos, and people really love them, and it seems like this could work out." And they said, "Yeah, not really interested." And that was in I want to say 2018 or something like that. That was quite a while ago.
Okay. Okay.
And then some time went by, about a year, and then I randomly one morning I got a call from Germany, and it was Benedict over there, who's kind of like a artist relations guy.
Okay.
And he said, "Hey Max, you remember that idea you had about like a signature guitar? And we're kind of in a different position now. And are you still interested in doing that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm still interested." And it was really kind of it was something I had basically forgotten about because they showed so little interest in it initially. But then we had that first phone call, and then it was like, okay, let's plan some things, and we'll figure it out, and we'll start the process. And that was in 2019. So from there, I came up with like, well, we want to do something that is a guitar that's going to be unique, but at the same time, not too far out from what they're already doing, because I wanted to do something that was going to have a lot of mass appeal to it, but still be something that was unique enough to separate it from other things, right? So it's kind
Yeah.
of that balance there. And so I came up with some ideas, and I was familiar with the Fusion series guitars, the Harley Benton Fusion series, which is
Yeah.
their like super strat
Yeah.
guitars. Like, well, we could take that body and do this with the neck, and I want the reverse headstock, and maybe something different with the pickups, and of course it's got to have a flashy finish on it, and just came up with some ideas. I presented it to them. They made a couple of suggestions, in particular with the pickups, that was different than what I had originally planned, but I think it worked out even better. We just kind of went through the process like that. But I'll tell you, the big sort of elephant in the room here is how long it took to do all of this. And the problem was COVID happened, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
we started talking about this at the end of 2019. And so, right as we started getting this whole process going, the whole world exploded basically.
Yeah.
And the factory is in Indonesia. So it was like, international shipping, and there's many different countries involved. I'm in the USA. Harley Benton is based in Germany, and then some of the design guys are in different European countries. Then the factory was in Indonesia. So it basically, every time we made a prototype, took about 6 months. And then it's like, okay, great, but we want to tweak this. And it would be another 6 months. And
Right.
so it took a very long time. But in the end, I think we came up with something that I'm really happy with.
That's cool. Well, it looks great. I mean, I watched, obviously I watched the video, that you put on your channel. Great. I was going to ask you, please show it to us. Run us through the specs. I love
So
that
this is
finish, by the way.
Oh, I feel like green guitars were sort of underrepresented, but um, I I wanted something that was flashy, but a little bit of sort of classiness to it. It's a NATO body, which is basically it's a type of mahogany,
Mhm.
and then it's a flame maple veneer top. Obviously, the green burst. The big make or break kind of feature is the neck on this guitar. Roasted flame maple neck and fretboard. So both the fretboard and the neck are roasted flame maple,
That helps
and
get
then
rid
it's
of
got
some of that, the like fret sprout and stuff like that, doesn't it?
exactly, yeah, and it's got 24 jumbo stainless steel frets. And the whole idea with this is the neck is not going to change over time because it's using the roasted woods where the woods are dried out. You know, they've removed most of the moisture, the excess moisture from the woods. It
Hmm.
makes it much less, uh, it's not as affected by temperature changes and humidity changes and that kind of stuff. That combined with the stainless steel frets, which don't wear down
Yeah.
realistically, I mean, unless you damage it in some way, the string wears out before the fret wears out. So, you know, when you get this guitar, the way the neck is now, it's going to be the same in 5 years or even 10 years from now. So the neck is not going to shift and change. So then the other thing was the reverse headstock, which people will argue about the advantages, about the length of the strings and everything. And then it has a locking nut, which in some ways negates that, although not completely. But I honestly think it just looks really cool. So, and then it's a natural finish on the headstock because I think the color of the neck is so nice.
Yeah, I would agree.
And
And
then,
it's got, I love that, yeah, the binding looks really
yeah,
cool.
yeah. And the binding is just sort of exposed wood where they didn't put any stain on it.
Huh.
The binding is not a separate piece of wood. It's the same
Oh,
wood at the body. Three-way toggle switch, single volume, single tone, and then a mini switch to do coil tapping or coil splitting, I should say, coil splitting on both pickups. Because, you know, one thing I mentioned in my video, and I'll hold this up here, this neck pickup is actually a humbucker pickup, but it's a rail pickup. So it's a
yeah.
single coil sized pickup, but it's technically a humbucker pickup. And so you can still split the coil on that neck pickup on both pickups. And
And
then
if I can just ask, I mean that
sure.
neck pickup is so neat, it's so near
Yeah.
the neck. I mean that it would
Yeah.
seem to me that if you use just that pickup and you did the coil split, you could get a really nice sort of traditional Strat sound,
Yes.
in addition to
Yeah.
all the other stuff.
Yeah. That pickup is it's right up against the end of the fretboard.
Yeah,
And then the fretboard is actually notched out there. So you have your truss rod adjustment. But the
that's
pickup
nice.
is up against the sides of the fretboard there where it comes out. Of course, another cool thing, which was just a little bit of an accident on my part because Harley Benton was suggesting these pickups. These are Tesla pickups, no relation to Elon Musk,
That's
unfortunately.
cool.
Yeah, but yeah, Tesla brand pickups, and then the centerpiece here, the Floyd Rose 1000 series. So this is a Korean-made Floyd Rose. People will argue, of course, the German-made, OFR original Floyd Rose are usually considered the best, but I think the 1000 series to me is a close second, but it helps keep the price of the guitar down. And there were a couple things like that, like no inlays on the fretboard, and then the
Yeah.
binding being just the exposed wood as opposed to a separate piece of a binding in there. Little things like that, kind of help keep the price down. And that was the other big thing is I really didn't want this to be an expensive guitar. I think some guys like the idea of having a really expensive signature guitar because it's like,
Sure.
you know, if it's good enough for me, it has to be $3,000 or something like that. But
Yeah.
I wanted to make a really great instrument that was accessible to more people, and I think they really nailed it. I mean, it's about $450 for the guitar, and then plus a shipping fee depending on where you live.
Obviously, it's a metal guitar. It looks designed for speed and metal, but with that coil splitting and the ability to go between those pickups, it looks really versatile.
Yeah, I
I
think it
mean,
is. It's
was that
you
part of the
know,
plan to make something that wasn't just metal, but folks could do other things on as well?
yeah, and I can't say that it's the perfect guitar for every style, but it's not a guitar that's just a one trick pony, right? I mean, it's like if you're going to play a metal album, there's going to be a ballad on there somewhere, right? And you need a guitar you can play the ballad with. And so you can do that with this guitar.
Nice. You make a nice 80s metal album, right?
Yes,
Power ballad.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. One per side. Well,
Yeah.
one per side. Wow, I'm thinking vinyl. Sorry, I'm dating myself, man. Are there at least dots on the upper side of the neck there?
Yeah. There are fret markers on the upper side of the neck here. Yeah.
Excellent.
And that's
Excellent.
something that people have been asking about because I think they see the surface of the fretboard and it's like, oh, but how will I know what fret I'm on, right? From the perspective of the player, when you're looking down here, you still have the dots on top of the fretboard. And
Yeah.
I think, I mean, because not that many people play like, this kind of stuff where
Right.
they're looking at the front of the fretboard. Most people are looking at the top. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you can see it there, but
Yeah, I can
yeah,
see it really well. How's the access to those upper frets? I mean, because on lots of guitars, even ones with 24 frets, those guitar frets like, oh, good. Because
yeah,
often frets 21 through 24 are like, well, you can tap on those, and that's kind of it.
right.
That
Yeah,
looks
no, you can get up there. Yeah,
nice. Nice,
yeah.
nice.
And there's also, there's a belly cut on the back of the body,
Oh, that's cool.
and you've got
Oh, that's nice.
the angle here over the
Yeah.
top. So it's a very, but the regular Harley Benton Fusion series guitars have that same, it's pretty much that same body from the Fusion guitars
Mhm.
from Harley Benton. So
Could you show us the back again, where like the neck
sure.
joint?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay, nice. Yeah, I like that sort of, much smoother
yeah.
fitting rather than those old big Fender style block
Right.
deals that you
Yeah,
just
it's
can't
rounded
get rid
off
of. Yeah.
and then it slopes down a little bit right here.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
That's nice. That is nice. What's a great looking machine.
Thank you.
I, s-
Thank you.
I see you've got a couple on the wall
Mhm.
behind you there. Are those the same one or are those prototypes?
Yeah, so these are prototypes, and I'll show you these. And it's kind of funny. I only have one of the finished, the production guitar. So I'm hoping they'll make, and they're sold out now. So I'm
I
hoping they'll
saw
make
that.
more of them, and I can at least get a second one, right? But
Yeah, I saw that today because I was like, wow, I should get one of those. And he was like, well, several months. I went, oh, that gives me time to save up though, so that's cool.
so I'll show you these in order because this is an earlier prototype. So you'll notice the green is a little bit different,
Yeah, it's a little brighter.
a little brighter, and so this guitar, check out the neck here. You'll notice,
Oh, yeah, it's scalloped.
yeah,
I was going to ask you if you considered, scalloping.
yeah. So I did, and this was one of the early prototypes. There are not that many choices for production guitars for scalloped necks. You've got the
Yeah.
Ingve Strat, Halo makes a guitar, but all of those guitars are up around $1,500. That price
Oh,
range.
yeah.
And I was like, man, if we could make a $500 guitar that had a really nice scalloped fretboard, like that's a great market move right there.
Yeah.
And they agreed, but they had the prototype built and they made the one prototype and they said, man, it took so much longer to build that neck. Like the labor costs are going to go way up
Oh,
to
okay.
make the guitars like that. So the problem was they could do it, and this guitar came out pretty cool, but it was really going to drive the price up on the guitar.
Okay.
Also, this guitar is noticeably heavier too. So
Really? And why is that?
the way it was explained to me was because the neck was scalloped, they had the neck made separately, like in a different factory than the
Yeah.
body was. And so I think they ended up using a different kind of wood for the body because it was made somewhere else.
Okay.
So this wood is different from the body wood of the in production guitar, and so there's just like a at least a pound or maybe a couple pounds weight difference
Wow.
between this one and the production one. So this was an early prototype, and then after that, we said, okay, unfortunately, the scalloping isn't going to work, and so this was the next prototype, and this one is pretty close to the end one. Um, the You'll notice a difference here. This is black
Yeah. Yeah.
on the body.
I mean, and that's cool too.
Yeah, and but this has pretty much the same neck. Like this neck is the same as the final production neck. So they got the neck dead on, and we just wanted to make a little, some tweaks in the color and that kind of stuff. Um, and then after that, it was there was one other prototype, which it's like in the closet or something like that. But um, yeah, yeah, not like that. But but it was pretty similar to this one here. Um, yeah, so that's they're basically, I think, four prototypes.
Okay.
And
All
yeah,
right.
so they got this one, and then when we got to this one, we were like, okay, this neck is perfect. We're not going to change the neck. And then after that, they got to the point where it was the production guitar, and we got to this one here.
Yeah, but not that my opinion matters, but I really like the color scheme that you ended up with. I
Thank
mean,
you.
because it looks cool, it looks metal, and yet, and I'm going to use your word from earlier, it looks classy.
Mm,
You know,
thank you.
you said in one of your videos not terribly long ago, and I quoted you in a video that I made. Actually, I do that a lot. You got to stop saying such cool things, man. But you said something about how great it is. I mean, it sounds silly, but how good it is when you go to practice guitar and you've got a guitar that just looks like it wants you to play it. You see
Yeah.
it and you're just excited about picking that thing up. Your guitar there looks like it fills that
Thank
requirement.
you. I mean, yeah, it's a guitar can look inspiring, right?
Yeah,
A guitar can sound inspiring. It can have a really wonderful tone and the way it feels. But when the guitar is just, sitting there on the stand in the room and you look over at it and you want to go pick it up and play it, right? I
yeah,
mean, that's it's helpful, right? It's very helpful for your practicing.
yeah. It
Yeah.
is.
I guess the overall kind of vibe I was going for is that the green and brown and gold, these are all kind of organic, natural colors.
The gold looks really sharp. I noticed that immediately in the video. The gold Floyd and the hardware. I have to ask you too. Was there any point at which I mean, because I know you've reviewed quite a few Harley Bentons, and thank you, by the way, because I was totally unaware of that company, and after watching some of your videos, I went to their website, and I'd always wanted like a Les Paul style guitar with 24 frets, so I got
Oh, yeah.
the SC Progressive 1000,
Hmm.
which I absolutely love. Man, I would put it up against the ESP LTD, what EC 401, which costs a
Yeah,
thousand
the
bucks
EC series, yeah.
any day. And that guitar cost me under 300, including shipping.
Hmm.
So, I mean, this is getting to the question: was there a point at which you played a specific Harley Benton guitar and went, "Okay, I can tweak this, and this would be perfect"?
I mean, there was something that was close to that, the Harley Benton Fusion 2, because that, like the materials on the neck
Mm-hmm.
were very similar to this. And it wasn't so much the rest of the guitar, and mine has a different pickup configuration and a different brand of pickups and a lot of things like that. But the neck really sold me on that. And I'm like, man, like if I could make a couple of little changes to this, that would really just be, really hit the nail on the head.
Okay, you said that the Harley Benton guys, or people, I don't know their gender, guys of all genders, made the suggestion to use the Tesla pickups.
I
What
think
did
it
you
was
have in mind originally? And then, why did they say, yeah, these might be better?
Well, it was because originally I had suggested the Roswell pickups, which is kind of their one of their in-house brands that they have
Yeah.
on a lot of the Harley Benton stuff. And my goal with that was I thought they sounded good and I knew it would keep the price down of the guitar. But I also really wanted this dual blade pickup in the neck position.
Okay.
And they just didn't have that kind of Roswell pickup. So they said, well, we don't really want to mix brands, in
Yeah.
the same guitar. So they said, but we've got this other brand that we just started doing these Tesla pickups, and I'm like, oh, please use Tesla pickups. That just sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome.
And they said, and we've got this dual rail pickup that we can use. I'm like, okay, let's try that. And then when I got the first prototype that had those pickups, and they sounded fantastic. So I was like, yeah, let's go with this.
Did you consider using active pickups at all? Or, would that have driven the price up too much or what?
I didn't want to use active pickups because I didn't want to have a battery compartment in the
Uh,
guitar. I just kind of wanted to stay away from battery powered stuff on the guitar. Some people really don't like it. I don't mind it, but again, it's like I don't need that. And I kind of thought it would turn the guitar off to some people,
right.
potential people. So
It's harder. Okay, just for me, right? I found that there was a real learning curve playing on active pickups.
mhm.
Because the first active pickup guitar that I got, I say that like I've got a bunch. I started trying to play on it, and I was just like, God, this is so noisy. What the
Oh
hell
yeah.
do I do here? So at first I thought, well, these pickups suck. But eventually I was like, oh no, it's just the way that I'm approaching them. Did you consider approaching any company other than Harley Benton?
I did, and there were a few other companies that approached me, but since I had started working with Harley Benton on the project, I felt, even though it was a slow process, I felt like it was really going the right direction. And
Hmm.
plus, in the meantime, even though the signature guitar was still in process and potentially a long way off, I was still looking at other Harley Benton guitars and that kind of stuff, and I continued to be impressed just with their brand overall. So I just, I there was never a point where I was in doubt, that it was the right
Right.
choice.
Well, I can't imagine that any other company would produce that guitar, at such a price. And this is just me, but honestly, I can't understand why any guitar that someone's going to, use as a playable thing on a regular basis would cost any more than 1,000 or 1,500 bucks. You see guitars for geez, it's almost $4,000, and I'm like, really? Why would I spend that money on a piece of wood with metal on it?
Yeah, I agree. I think in terms of value, like paying for something and getting something that's worth that dollar amount, I really think guitars kind of top out around $1,500. So
I'm
you
with
can
you.
you can pay more than that, but it's not really going to make it a better guitar, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
maybe some exotic material, like I've got one of the Paletti guitars that's made out of 150-year-old wine barrels, and it's really cool, right? But it's a $4,000 guitar, so it's like, it does it play better than a $1,500 guitar? No, but yeah.
All right. Zoom's going to kill us here in just a second. So, all right, dude. Have a good night.
Okay, take care.